Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. We want to welcome all of you who are joining us live and also those of you who will be watching the replay. I am Tamara P. Jones, founder of Beautifully Bold Women, a community for women of faith where we live in the beauty of our purpose, align with God's agenda, and have success and serenity God's way. We're truly about supporting, empowering, and encouraging women, and we have four foundational pillars of spiritual, mental, physical, and financial well-being. And we're so excited to have each and every one of you tune in live and with us on tonight. And again, those of you who be watching the replay, we want to welcome you, but we also want to make sure that you tag someone right now and get them into this live. Because let me tell you something, we are going to be talking about the power of purpose. So I want you to take just a few seconds, tag your girlfriend on social media. Those of you who are on our email list, we want you to forward that email right now and tell a woman to get in the room. Tell your sister, your girlfriend, your mother, your aunt, your bestest friend. You want to make sure that you get them in the room on tonight, because I'm telling you, we always have a beautiful time. We have a time where we're empowering, encouraging women, and this is going to be no different. I'm telling you, it's always fire. We always leave out so inspired from the guests that we have, and tonight I'm telling you will be no different. And so I'm just giving you just a few more seconds to go ahead and invite someone in the room, invite them in the room with us on YouTube at Beautifully Bold Women, and also on Instagram. Tag them, tell them, come on, get in the room. And we're located there at Beautifully Bold Women as well. But we want you to not miss on tonight. This is the finale. Somebody say the finale. This is the finale of our 3-part purpose series that we've been doing since April, and I'm just so excited because we started with a pull of purpose and we moved to the pain of purpose, and now, come on somebody, we're talking about the power of purpose. I believe that purpose is a life compass, it's a guiding force for all of our lives. I believe that when we discover our purpose, we discover ourselves. We discover the real you. Purpose is the essence of why we're here. It's our divine blueprint. It ignites vision and it propels us on the path to honor why we were created, why we're here, what we've been called, what we've been purposed to do. I believe that purpose is a blend of our passions, our desires, our natural tendencies, our competencies, but it's the power that gives us the ability to act. Because come on, somebody, a lot of people are talking about intention. It's good to have intention, but it's better to have action. And so the power of purpose and power is the ability to take action. And that's what we want to do. We want to take action in our lives. We want to live our lives in the manner which God has created us to live it successfully, and to live it powerfully. I believe that the power of purpose will push you past yourself. Why? Because sometimes we may be a little frustrated. We may be a little overwhelmed. We may be tired. But when we discover our purpose, the power of that thing, the power of purpose, the power that God has given us to do what he's created, called, designed, manufactured us to do, that thing is going to push us to keep going. And so this tonight, we're talking about that power. I believe it's what enables you to reinvent yourself in different seasons and stages of life. And we're going to talk about that a little bit on tonight, because that's so important. Because as we move in life, as we grow, as we encounter certain circumstances and situations, we're going to need the power of purpose to continue to propel us and push us forward. Because purpose is absolutely a driving force. It's a driving force for our purpose. And for some, and a very few, really, it's a straight path. For most of us, it's a windy road. It's a road that may have detours. We're distracted by so many things. We could be discouraged at some points. We could be disappointed. But at the end of the day, I believe that when we pursue our purpose, we live in the power of our purpose, there are going to be so many formidable lessons that we will learn that helps to bring out the clarity and certainty to the work that each and every one of us are purposed to do. And so we have to continue to move forward. The power of purpose will do that. It will allow us to always move back to the core. Remember, I said purpose is the essence of who you are. It's the divine blueprint. So you're always going to go back to that core. And that's what purpose will always bring you back to your core. And the power of that is going to allow you to move forward. And so I'm just so excited because y'all know I can go, but I know we have a special guest on tonight, and I am so excited because she is my very closest and best friend in the world. She is my sister. We met in the fifth grade. Come on, somebody, fifth grade, right? Some of y'all be like, I don't even remember who was in my fifth grade class. No, this is my best friend, lifetime friend since fifth grade, and I am just so excited. Stephanie is a professional baker. She's the owner of Love London Sweets, a cottage bakery in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, New York. And she's now taken her passion for fashion design to designing exquisite cakes and cookies. She also has cake decorating classes that she does for individuals and private clients as well. And she's also a one-on-one coach for those baking enthusiasts out there. So please help me warmly welcome my closest, my dearest, my best friend, Miss Stephanie Gibson. Let me tell you something. They just don't know on tonight, right? They just don't know.
Like, they don't know about us.
They don't know about us. From the fifth grade, they don't know about us.
And so who can say that? Fifth grade, friends since fifth grade. Who can say that?
Who can say that? And so we're just letting them in on just a glimpse. This is going to be a conversation on steroids. I hope that people are ready out there, because when you have your friend from fifth grade, let me tell you, we know so much about each other. We know each other so well. But there's, I always say there's more things to learn. But at the end of the day, I mean, when you talk about someone that know, right? We know. Yeah. We know. And so from the age of 10, I mean, best friend on the playground, I'm telling you, doing what we do. And so here we are today. And I'm so thankful for your yes on today to be here, because, I believe I know the women are going to be blessed tonight as you share. And as we have this conversation that's going to definitely empower, inspire, and encourage the next person. Yeah. I know sometimes people like, my Facebook friend, my Facebook sister girlfriend, but I had to let them know. I had to let them know you're from the fifth grade, because sometimes, people use that a little loosely because your Facebook friends, but, fifth grade, like you said, who can match that? Not a whole lot of them can do that. Not even Gail and Oprah can do that. Come on, we fifth grade, right?
We got them.
So what I love, though, about you is that you are true creative at the core. True creative at the core. Your roots have been in the fashion design industry, and you have been in the industry for 25 years or so. You're a graduate of the internationally acclaimed and distinguished leader in the fashion design industry, FIT. For y'all that don't know, that's the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City, the Big Apple, the Empire State. So do you understand that we were together when this young lady went to Votech school, was making clothes and doing designs, and that day when she was like, I want to go to FIT, and the portfolio that she showed me, in her mother's living room, that time we sat down and she was getting ready for an interview, and my girl went up there and just showed them how it's done. She came back. She was ready to enter FIT and just did the darn thing, just blew it up. I mean, she worked for big brand name fashion houses, also for big retail giants. So when I tell y'all fashion design and it was in her blood and the things that she do, that's my girl right there. And so I bring, how many people can say a fashion designer, work for fashion designers? Not a whole lot of people can say that. We can look at Fashion Week, Paris Fashion Week, but I'm like, that's my friend.
You sound like Pam talking about Gina. That's my friend. That's my friend.
Some of that went over people's head. If you don't know Martin. But yes, somebody watched the reunion. They peeped it. But just to watch you matriculate and how you had such a formidable career, but now you've moved into being an owner of your own cottage bakery. And so we're going to talk about it, because I know for so many moments I've shared with you privately how proud I am of you. I've shared, I'm sure in the comments here and there, when you're posting. But I just want to publicly on this platform for beautifully bold women that's going to go out, on these internet streets to the masses. I want you to know how golly proud I am of you, what you've done in your career, what you've done in your life, how you transition and stay true to your creative core. And let me tell you something, girl. You're doing the darn thing. You're doing the darn thing. If somebody don't know, ask Yelp, ask Google. You're doing the darn thing. And I'm just so excited about you moving from fashion design to now fashioning exquisite cakes and cupcakes. And she can make a good cobbler and a good banana pudding too, y'all. Don't, but her gourmet cakes and cookies are just, delightful. They're delicious. And so I'm just so excited that you have, kind of made that transition. So I want to open up with just, I know you, but of course it's always about the people. And then, like I said, I always tend to learn more because I'm like a sponge. But I just want you to share your story and how, first of all, your love for the fashion design industry began.
Well, first of all, I am speechless after all of that. Oh my goodness. I don't think, I don't even know. That was amazing, Tammy. I mean, and listen, y'all, my nickname is Peachy. So if she slips up and says Peach or Peachy, and you're like, who is she talking about? It's me. It's me. You're not losing it. Thank you for that intro. That was beautiful. Thank you. I'm proud of you too. So let's see. So fashion. She's home. Oh boy, here we go. And if you hear noise, it's just my daughter. Just ignore it. So fashion began for me when I was probably, I don't know, 9 or 10 years old. And I used to watch, no, I was probably a little older. I used to watch Style with Elsa Clinch on CNN. It used to come on Saturday mornings. And I was probably more like 13, 14, something like that. And I would watch that and I was like, I am going to New York City. I am leaving this small town and I'm out of here. Y'all never see me again. And so that's how that began. So I started just sketching and drawing and doing all of these things. And then it just turned into, I'm going to FIT, I'm going to New York City. I'm out of here.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it started.
Yeah. But just the whole, like I said, how many people know a fashion designer? And I saw you, because also when the Votech, like you went through, the Votech high school training, in terms of getting like more solid in your roots of making that transition and making, that jump to FIT. You were in merchandising. So you were actually, even before then, getting the schooling and just some of the knowledge around making that a perfect fit and career for you to be, in that space as well.
Yeah. Going to the Votech school helped me to really, I took clothing management, and it helped me really to realize that was where I was supposed to be going. At least that's what I thought.
Yes.
I thought that was the direction, but I was in that direction and I was in that field. I went to college for it. I was in that field for years, like 20 plus years, like you said. So, I mean, I knew that was what I was supposed to be doing. So I thought.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But your passion was there. That's all I remembered. In our upbringing, in fifth grade, skip to high school. That's all I remembered was the fashion, or at least the designing clothing and drawing and things like that. Like I said, when you did your portfolio, I was like, wow, but just knowing that was in your blood. Like you said, I saw this and I said, this is where I'm going. But just having that desire, like, because to go to Votech school that's saying, this is what I want to do. That's kind of putting you on a fast track of a career path. Rather than a regular, high school or, college preparatory, like I did, certain direction, like that was the direction, in terms of college that you were going. So I wanted people to know, how did your love and when that started? And so we know that was pretty much teenage years that you had defined, truly, locked in, if you will, on laser beam focus. This is where I'm going, and I'm going to the Big Apple, and this is what I want to do, and set your sights on that and made it happen, because FIT is not an easy school to get into. Like I said, it's internationally acclaimed, and you did it. You didn't have to beg them to get you in. You went up there, and I remember, had your portfolio, one shot, and went in there and did it. So I'm just, again, so very proud of you. So I want to transition to, as a child, did you know, though, the power of your purpose in creating something original? And what was that moment?
Hmm. Well, when I was in high school, we would do these fashion shows. Like we would go to the mall and we would do these fashion shows. It was so cute. It was so sweet.
Parmesan models.
Yeah, now that I think about it, it was so sweet. We would put them on at school and people from everywhere would come watch these fashion shows. And um we used to get pretty creative. We would get, now that I think about some of the things that I used to sew in class, we would get really creative, and I would get all kinds of compliments, and I would get people wanting me to sew things for them, and I was like, no, I'm not really that, I don't know. Okay, I'll try it. So I would try my hand at sewing things for people, and that just progressed. It just constantly progressed. When I went to college, same thing. We would make clothes, put on fashion shows. People would ask, "Where'd you get that?" "Oh, I made it. Can you make me one?" "Sure." So yeah, it definitely was a passion. Like I remember I think it was in my yearbook, I said, they ask the seniors for quotes or something like that, right? And I think I remember saying, and I haven't seen this since I graduated, so I'm just going off the cuff, but I think I said something like, and this is probably gonna make you laugh. It's an inside joke, but Tammy will get it. I said something like, I'm going to New York City to be a fashion designer, and I'm going to design a um, a, a red tight-fitting leather suit for Eddie Murphy. We love that man. We loved him.
We were going to style him.
Oh, we were, and I was going to marry him. I was. So it stuck with me for a long time, a very long time. So I don't have any regrets. I think I look back and I think to, some of the things that I probably should have, would have, could have done while I was in the industry, but I don't have any regrets. Any regrets.
And I think you knew the power in honing in on this power, and that people were sharing with you your designs. Like you said,
Yeah.
your designs were edgy. They were, like you said, let me try it. You're saying, let me try it. And people are like already telling you how good you were with what you did, because they were coming to you and asking you, or like in high school, everyone was like, oh, these are so nice. And so, in college, and then, not being a full-fledged designer, but going through the process of fashion design school. And then still people are saying, can you make this for me?
Yeah.
Right? Even while you're matriculating through that. So
Yes.
that lets you know the power of your purpose. Like you had that gift, that creative calling that you had to design and make people feel beautiful, right? Like you said, make them feel like something that was edgy, something that was different, something that defined or spoke to who they were. Right?
Yes.
That's the power of your purpose.
Yeah.
You know, and you knew that, because I believe at some level the evidence is always, like they say, proof is in the pudding, is another, like the evidence was there, but coming and discovering it, that's the place, Stephanie, that we have to get to, is discovering. And that was the process of discovering that, well, wait a minute, if everyone's saying that they want to design for me, or this design was good, or when you hear people applaud, and when you have those fashion shows in the mall, or when you're in college and you have those times where you go out and do design, or have these events, and everyone's wow and woo and it's like, wait a minute, I'm on to something here. You know this is a space, right? Yeah. But that's the power of it.
You really feel like I really felt like, the dream that I saw for myself was coming true, based on what people were saying to me, and based on just the way I felt about it. I loved it, and then to have the confirmation of people coming up to me and saying, oh, that's nice. Where'd you get that from? And I'm like, well, it's a one of a kind. I made it.
I made it. Like, huh?
Yeah. So, it was just more confirmation, and it gave me more confidence, to apply to FIT, because I was really shy. I had to come up here and talk to people I didn't know at FIT. This is a big deal. Maybe I didn't realize how big of a deal it was. Maybe that was it. But I did it, and I stuck with it. And I look back, and I still can't believe that I left, our hometown and came to a place like here, and because it's not easy to be here. It's not easy to live here. It's not easy to move here. But I did it, and I'm still here.
And the thing you said this, and when people don't use, like, I'm quiet. Like, I had to talk to people. I had to do this and I did that. And for you to say, we're talking about 16, 17 years old as you start to look at FIT.
Yeah.
16 by 17, we've declared where we're going to college. We're just riding this thing out.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time we graduate, we're just turning close to 18, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about 16, 17 years old. And like you said, I didn't know, but I believe God was always covering you because he knew what he placed on the inside of you, even when you didn't know it, but you were discovering it. See, we go through this. That's why our logo is the butterfly. It's a metamorphosis. It's a process. Same way with our purpose. We go into these different stages, but we're discovering if we allow ourselves. Some people don't even allow themselves, Stephanie, to dream. Some people don't even allow themselves to get to the place at 12 and 13 and see a show and believe I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't have that. And so that's something in and of itself, to your credit, to say, I saw that, I'm going to get out of here. That's what I'm going to do. Right. And that is where I think the beginning of the power, because remember I said power is the ability to take action. You can have all the intention in the world, right? You can have all the desire in the world, but it's the power to, which is the ability to take action, that matters. And so you took the action even when you didn't realize and say, wait a minute, that was a big step, but it was something you wanted. And I always say that's the big thing about the power purpose. It propels you. Like I said, it gives you that vision. And I always said, until I see what I saw, and somebody's going to catch that in a minute, until I see what I saw, I'm going to keep moving forward. And so when you have vision, that's what you saw. Until you see it in the natural, you're not going to let it go. And that's the power. And that's the push of the purpose. And that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. And looking back on that, all of that was faith, stepping out on faith. Not realizing that was what it was.
Come on.
That was what I did. That was what I did.
Believing in the unseen, but having that desire, that seed of faith. It was in you because you saw it and you believe I can do that.
Yeah.
And to step out from a small town to a big city. Come on, somebody.
Come on, somebody. Come
big
on.
City of dreams, right? The big city, where you can get run over.
Oh my goodness.
In the big city. You can get run over real quick in a big city in the Big Apple. Try it. We've done it a few times. But you step off that curb, ain't nobody looking checking for you. There is no pedestrian right away. They ain't here. You in New York. They know that's the law, but wait a minute, you knew you came to New York. Step off that curb if you want to, right?
Oh my God.
So it's a fast-moving city, and that was one thing that always enamored me too, is that I was like, my friend is going to New York. But knowing how you are as a person and taking on the Big Apple with your personality, that shows you the power of purpose in your dream. Like nothing could stop you. As quiet as you were, it didn't stop you because you had a desire on the inside that had to be fulfilled.
I mean, I can't believe it. I can't believe it myself sometimes because I was so shy, so quiet. But I was like, I want this and I'm going to do it and I'm going to have it. Watch out, world. And I did it. I did it.
And I'm like, I'm right there with you because here you are with your big mouth friend. She's going to New York, right? Because the reality was, that's the thing about, I knew that there was value in my voice as a child. So there's the power. Like, there's certain things in the gifts that God has given us, our core, like we can't, no matter what we want to do. Like I said, the power of purpose is always going to push you past yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
What should you pass? Whatever you believe your personality is, because you're bigger than your personality. You're what God created you to do.
Mm-hmm.
The personality doesn't define you. It's what God put in you that defines you. That seed, like you say, of faith that he gave us. And when we activate that seed, oh my goodness, do we blossom? Do we grow? Do we grow into something beautiful, like a flower and like a butterfly? And so that is what you've done. You've had your own metamorphosis transformation process, because look at today, stepping out on faith and not saying, oh, well, because I'm shy, I'm not going to even apply to FIT, or I'm not even going to go to New York and interview. Because I remember we were getting ready. I'm so vividly. I'm seeing the scene right now and looking at you carry up them 3 steps from the den back up into the kitchen, your portfolio, getting ready for, your interview. And I was just so proud. And so, like I said, this is a conversation on steroids, y'all. I'm not even going to say forgive us because this is what you came for, right? You came for realness.
I'm so glad you have those memories, because a lot of that stuff, and I'm sure I have some memories of you saying and doing some things. But a lot of those things you forget, and sometimes when you're going through it and you're like, you're doubting yourself and you're doing all these things talking negatively or whatever, you know, and then you hear these stories and they're old stories about yourself and you're like, I did that. I should really be proud of this. This is
And
kind of a big deal, you know?
you are a big deal. It is a big deal. Why? Because it's you and you're living in the power of your purpose.
Mhm.
Right. And I just think it's so important for women to understand that at whatever age, you're
Yes.
whatever God placed in you, you're never too old to do it. If God still gives you breath in your body, you have the power to do it. We know all the stories about KFC. We know it was 70. We know Ray Kroc with McDonald's. We know certain things that, you know, it was years. You know, these people were older. Everybody wasn't, you know, in there. I know we see society now that you see a lot of people 18, 20, but
Mhm.
we came through a different time where everything wasn't, some of the technology hadn't caught up to
Mhm.
what we already had built in us,
Mhm. Yep.
right? But I believe that we still were in the perfect timing because God makes no mistake of when
Absolutely.
we're born, where, you know, where we live, the parents we're born to. None of that is a mistake in God. And so I applaud you for, you know, the tenacity that you didn't even know you had to take on
Mhm.
the Big Apple and to take on the fashion design world. You know, that's big, that's huge, that's a lot. You know,
Yeah.
it's almost like the entertainment world. I mean, that's really, you know, a big world to begin to take on. So I want to say this. So we're gonna segue into this because I know there's challenges, and so I want to ask you, what were some of the challenges you faced while you're discovering your purpose, while you're kind of moving into this space that you were in for, you know, more than 2 decades, almost 3 decades, roughly.
What were some of the challenges?
Yeah, what are some challenges that you face, particularly
Well,
discovering your purpose and kind of standing in it?
I think one of the challenges is, was realizing, finally graduating, getting jobs in the industry, and realizing that this ain't it. This ain't it. This ain't it. And it was from like day one, like my very first job, maybe my second job. And I was just like, I don't love this. Oh boy, what do I do now? So I guess, and you know, and I stayed there and I stayed there for years, job after job, year after year. I stayed there a long time, not liking it the entire time. That was very hard. That was very hard because I knew that I knew that deep inside I had a deeper purpose. I didn't know what that was. Even though it was in me, I was doing things with it the entire time, but I didn't know that that was my purpose while I'm working in these jobs that I could not stand. And that
Mhm.
was hard. You know, it was hard to get up and go and do something every day that you could, you know, I know a lot of people feel this way about their jobs, you know, and it's not easy. You have to take care of yourself. So you have to do what you have to do. And that's what I did. So I would say that that was probably the biggest challenge for me, staying in it. I was like, you know, going back and forth with myself, like, you went to school for this, you know, you can't, you gotta, you know, you gotta see it through. You gotta see what happens. You only been in this a little while, give it a chance, you know, and in the entire time, it wasn't horrible. You know, some of the jobs were better than others. Some of the bosses were better than others. Um, some of the companies were better than others. And, so I stayed. I stayed. And I achieved quite a bit outside of just, you know, my discontent with fashion. Personally, I achieved a lot. It allowed me to personally get a lot, grow a lot, find out more about myself a lot. You know, it let me see what I didn't want to do. You know, it allowed me to
Mhm.
see what I didn't want to do and explore the things that were in there that I didn't know were in there that had to come out. And
Yes.
that took the challenge and made that's I think that's how I was able to continue going with it, because I knew I was going to keep going until I got to something that felt right,
Yeah.
you know. And so and that was how I was able to stay in it as long as I was. But yes, the challenge was staying.
And that the thing is, I think because too seeing it through, that was something you were passionate about, you know, at a young age. And one of the things I remember, if you don't remember this, there was I think you had like a 1.5 year sabbatical where you came back to
Yes.
our small place and you started a business
Yes.
and you did that business for a year and a half. You gave it some time. You was like, no, I got to go back to the big city. And you went back into fashion design. It was a very short amount of time, but I think it was a time that you needed to regroup to say, but because you did go back, and this is very early on in your career. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
probably the first maybe 7 years of your career, if I
Mm-hmm.
recall
Probably,
correctly.
yeah.
So it's still new to it, but to go back and you continued in another 15 to 20 years after that time frame, you know what I mean? So there was still something in you, I think the desire to create something, desire to see, because it's so much in the fashion world. There's so many brand names and designers and other designers and designing for others, or one of the things you did for a major retailer, the coloring side, the colorist side. It's like so much to it,
Yeah.
right? I think you also gave yourself the chance to learn a lot of different facets of it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
is huge.
Yeah, it
And
is.
and then find a way. Wherein some people would have just not even given themselves the opportunity, but you
Yeah.
did, and you
Yeah.
did go back, and you did stay, in it for, like I said, almost another 2 decades, even after
Yeah.
having that time of, I say, reprieve.
Yes, it
You
was.
know,
It
to
was.
kind of like settle in. No, maybe this is, and I know a big fashion house called too, so that was another incentive. I call somebody, and I know the name, but we're not going to do that because beautiful women can't handle that bill right now. We don't say no names without getting clearance. But and then you went to, and I think that too, going to a big name fashion house had something to do with the draw of going back to
It
that
did, yeah.
was absolutely phenomenal. So, but this moves us. This is really good because this moves us right to kind of think where I think we were landing, and what you were alluding to was that you in 2020, and I saw that pop up. Someone said learning to pivot, and that's right where we're going. So you guys are engaged. We want to see your comments. We want to see your questions. Get ready, because we're here to take it, right? But we want to be real with you and want to share with you, because I told you if you come here, you're going to be able to hear Stephanie's story, and so I want to make sure that you do that. So in 2020, you began though to pivot out of the fashion industry to pursue your passion for fashioning these custom cakes. So how fulfilling, because we kind of talked about the other side of how you felt and how you endured something you loved and was very passionate about as a child, and then growing into it and going to, like I said, one of the most prestigious, acclaimed international universities, to do an institute to do that. But how fulfilling has it been for you now as you pivoted and you're on the other side?
It's been very fulfilling because it's one of the things that was the thing that was in me, like that I didn't know was there, right? So that was always there. I was always baking. I baked when I was a child, just as much as I watched Style with Elsa Clench. I baked just as much, right? And so when I was at my last job, I had just started there, and I was there a long time. My manager at the time, we were having a review. He was giving me my review, and he asked me, where do you see yourself, or what do you want to do in a couple of years, or something like that. And I just very honestly came out and said to him, I want to own a bakery. Now, I work in fashion. I was working in fashion, and I said, I want to own a bakery. And he was just like, huh? He couldn't quite understand. But I mean, and I just could not explain it to him why I said that or why I felt that way. But it took me, and I was in my early 30s, so I was a little cocky, I was slightly on the like, I don't care what you say, I wouldn't recommend that. So I said that out loud, and I was like, you know what? I am supposed to be baking. I am supposed to be baking for a living. That's why I don't like this industry. That's why I don't like these jobs. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. It took me all that time to realize that was what I was supposed to be doing, baking. And so so I had that conversation with him, and let me see, what else was I going to say? I forget what I was going to say, but yeah, I mean, it started there. It's the passion, the drive. Like, I started baking even more. I started to bring baked goods to work. They would ask me about doing the cupcakes for the parties and the cakes for the parties. And then I started taking classes, culinary classes and things like that. So the passion for baking is very fulfilling. The fact that I own my own business and do it is probably even more fulfilling. more stressful, I'm sure, than just working in a bakery, because it's my own business. But it's fulfilling that, because that was probably over 20 years ago that I said that. To see that come to pass now, I can't believe it, honestly. I just can't believe that I actually did it again. Like, I did it again. It was fashion, and now it's baking, and those were two things that were very important to me when I was a kid. Very important to me. And I did the one, I gave that up, and now I'm doing the other one.
Yeah.
Not realizing how it was going to happen, and just going for it, just going and doing it. And it has been fulfilling. It has been. It's been full of tears and joy, all the emotions, but I'm doing it and I love it. I do. I
And I
really
think you've been true to your core, because
Yeah.
a lot of us are multi-passionate as women. There's not just one thing in us, but they align. So when you're talking about the designing, the baking, I remember you posted one time, and I shared this with you, and it was so cute because you had this, this beautiful reel going, and you were making a custom color for a cake that you were doing for, I think, a corporate client. And I don't know if it was their logo or what. And you was like, see, this is what happens when you're See, if you had not had that fashion design experience working,
Yeah.
as a manager in the colorist department or organization, and understanding the blend, your background made you the perfect candidate to be able to do that. And I smiled because I said, even making that transition, that was your preparedness. Making that transition, because even in being in a fashion house, you still have entrepreneurship kind of mentality,
Yes.
because you're working with designers, you're working with people who are quick thinking, things got to happen fast, things are, moving parts are going. And so I think that that also prepared you, because God knows best. That prepared you. So even honoring that and saying that I honored that desire, that gift in me for fashion design, and translated that into now cake design,
Yeah.
like
Same
you're
thing.
not just the regular, you're not, the regular grocery store baker.
Oh, no.
We're
No,
talking
no.
about gourmet, exquisite, custom, you're getting a fashion design moment in a cake. Come on, somebody. Like, if you want the fashion design cake, you might have to add that on somewhere in the website there. But it's an up level to this. This is not just getting, the regular. And not to say that there aren't people out there who are bakers and designing and doing things well. Hey, I'm partial. This is my girl. But because of your fashion design background, how many bakers can say that they were in fashion design before now designing cakes? That it's science with it. It's a creativeness with it. It's so much, and you got that background, so you got that perfect blend, if you will. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'm just happy. I'm happy you made the transition, because I know that has been good for your soul to also see that come to pass, but also have your own, in terms of, like I said, your own bakery. And so that moves us into the next. We're moving right into the flow, as God will always have it. Things always flow together. I wanted to ask you, how has unlocking your power of your purpose propelled you today as an entrepreneur and now an owner of your own cottage bakery?
Oh boy. Oh boy. I mean, I don't know. I can't even. It's just so, it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain when you have had this dream all these years, all this time, and to have it come true, and be living the dream. I can't even really put it into words, because it's like so deep. Like, I feel like I need to write it down to get it to come out. You know how I'm really feeling. I'm at a loss for it. It's such an emotional thing for me.
Yeah.
It's very deep.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's even like, it's very private. Like, I keep it close. You're a baker now. You are living this dream and you're living this passion. I don't know. Sometimes it makes me want to cry,
Guess what? That's the unlocking. That's the
Yeah.
unlocking. When you unlock the core of your soul, remember I said purpose brings you back to your core. When
Yeah.
you see the piece come on, somebody. I clap when I get excited. When you see the pieces of the puzzle and how God created you and made you and it's coming together, it's a feeling that you have on the inside because that's Holy Spirit. That's touching you and saying, everything I put in you, the essence of who Stephanie is coming out. That's why something I can't put into words because the essence of the core of me is coming out. And I'm out here seeing, it's like you're a witness of your own, like you're seeing it come to pass. You're seeing it. And sometimes, and I'm just flowing Holy Spirit like that. The reason why I have no words is because I'm actually now in the moment of what was placed inside of me, and I unlocked it through faith. And it's an experience. And how often can we explain an experience, right? We can try to do it justice, but we can't always explain. Just like with God, we can try to explain how God moved and how he blessed us in our life, but we can't always put the words to it. We just know God is amazing. God is wonderful. God did it.
We know God did it. We know he did it. We can't explain it. We just know he had a hand in it.
Somebody in the comments say,
God did it. That's how I feel. Because I just look back to loving doing this so much as a kid. And now I'm doing it. Like, I just and it's growing. It's not like I've gotten it all 100%. I'm still growing. It's still brand new. But the fact that I took the steps that I took, I found a business baking coach, home baking business coach. And I'm doing all the things the right way. Some things I'm getting right. Some things I'm not. I'm not really good at doing my website, but some things I'm doing pretty good.
Okay, I'll get you on that one because this is the problem with excellence. We are worst critics.
I know.
When you share with me, and you just launched a year and a half ago, so somebody needs to understand that you transitioned in 2020, but you didn't launch your website.
Right.
It's been a year and a half. So let people understand that what you've done in a year and a half. I mean, you transitioned, but the world didn't know till a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And when you showed me, and I was, I guess, one of the few that had a private preview, and you said, let me know what you think. And it's like, I don't know, this is like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. You know this. We can go back and look at it. We can go back and document, right? It was like 9, 10, maybe no later, 11 o'clock in the morning. I was like, and I was sitting, because I remember I was sitting on my step, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. Oh my gosh, this is wonderful. And then I had not looked, honestly, and I shared with you last week, I had not looked at your website since basically when you launched. When I look at it now, I'm sitting up there, I was like, boy, look. I mean, how you have actually, continue to up level, your offerings, up level, how you ensure that as a business owner, you attract clients and clients treat you. I mean, I see you got your fees, you got, hey, when, travel fees, if it's over this, like you got that thing laid out, like there is no gray areas. Everybody knows what they're getting. If it's a custom cake in a certain way, they need to call, for a consultation. We understand that because we understand. I've watched some of them shows too, the event planning shows. I know them cakes can cost lots of money. And I know that you have corporate clients, but at the end of the day, I think truly, you're stepping in. Your website is, I mean, it's I'm just saying it's up there. It's so far beyond the years. You've only done this a year and a half. Your website does not look like someone who just launched a year and a half ago.
Thank you.
It does not. And I'm just saying that not just as your very best friend and closest friend, but I'm saying that as I was and I shared that with you last week that I had not looked at it, but in preparation of our time together, I said, let me go look at the website because I see what you offer from, your Instagram page, Love London Sweets. And we want to kind of put that up there _BK up there so people can start, taking a peek. I know y'all want to peek, but I want y'all to start taking a peek and kind of seeing. But truly, you have done an amazing job this far. I'm trying to think what's next because you got it so laid out that the next is going to be like, but I know what's next. I already spoke some things to you. I already know what's next. I was on the next when you was launching. I was saying, this is what you're going to do by the end of the
You sure did.
So you already know I'm already on your next. But
you sure did.
I'm going to leave that. But I just know that the unlocking and what you were sharing, because the essence of you now seeing something that was on inside of you that you discovered, you tapped into something you longed for, but didn't know how it was going to look. And now you're living in it. It's an experience, and that's why the tears and the feelings and I don't have words for this because it's an experience. And like I said, the vision is until you begin to see what you saw, when you begin to start walking in that, it's got to be such a surreal experience that you can't put words to,
You
because
can't. I
it's a
really
God
can't.
experience.
Yeah,
When it's a God experience, there's no words. Like, we can put certain things in the English language, but when we really think about the beauty, the awesomeness of God, creator of all things, we really don't have words.
No, no.
The
For
sky,
me,
when we look at it, we don't really
no.
have the words.
For me, it's not. When I say I can't put it into words, I really truly cannot. Like, it's more of a feeling.
Yes.
It's more feeling than it is words. Which is the reason why sometimes I feel like I could just burst out into tears.
And I believe it's a touch.
I'm a little bit proud of myself, this is, I'm a little proud, and I'm doing this for for the next generation, paying attention, so that they can see that they can do it too, and and come to me if you have questions. I'm open. I'm all about it. So.
And that's why I said they can get those one-on-one consultations. All those baking enthusiasts out there, you got your calendar, for them. But I want to say this, because this kind of steps into everything, kind of just as God ordains it, it kind of flows to the next. But what inspires you? What absolutely inspires you? Because you were talking about the next generation. And I think that kind of led us right. I said, there she go. I'm like, God, that's how you does it. What inspires you? Because that just kind of, again, brought a good segue right into what I was going to ask you.
Yeah. Well, that's the noisemaker that was, you'll probably be able to hear on the replay. London. So my business, Love London Sweets, was named for London, my daughter. I love London. She loves sweets, mashed it all together, came up with the name Love London Sweets. And she is the reason that I don't give up. Because and I don't, I feel like if you own a business at all, the thought comes to your mind to give it up every now and then. And that's just a fact, because it's
every
hard.
day.
Yeah. Oh, every day. And that's some of the reasons also why I'm in tears. I'm just going to give it up. I can't. And then I don't, because I think of London and she's watching. And whether she wants to do this or not, she may or may not want to bake. She's at least watching me handle my business, start a business, do the bookkeeping, run the website, Instagram, and all the other things that come along with it. There's so many steps, and she's watching all of that. And and sometimes she'll see me, she'll be at some of the decorating classes that I hold, or, she'll see me talking to people about the business, and she's seeing all of that stuff. So for me, it's not even necessarily about the baking aspect of it that she needs to see. I don't want her to be a baker if she doesn't want to be, but it's more about her seeing her mom start her own business, which happens to be named after her, and thrive in it. And not only that, but love it. This is something that, I want her to see that I love this, that I love what I'm doing, because I don't want her to be in a position in life like I was, where she's doing something that she just didn't love. I want her to be able, and chances are she'll be doing something at some point that she doesn't like, or, doesn't want to do, or whatever. But I want her to realize that you don't have to do something that you don't love. When you have a mind, you have your health, you have everything you need, all your faculties, you use your gifts and create your own business and create your own destiny. And don't let anybody tell you need to go work for this one and that one and the third. You don't. As long as, and if you want to have your own business, that's if you want to have, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to have your own business, or if you're not enjoying what you've chosen in life, you can stop and you can pivot and do something else. You can have your own business. You can live your own dreams. You can do the things that make you happy. And so I do that for her. I do it so that, because she's watching. Yes. She's watching.
Yes. And you're teaching her too, that my niece, that my little niece over there, be shy every time. But you're giving yourself permission. And a lot of times we grew up with that linear way of doing things. You go to school, you're going to do this, that, and they're of a very, very different generation. Generation Alpha, they really are. But understanding that even in the midst of that you have options, that you can do. It's not just do this and this alone. You can do this and this. They need that conjunction to understand. And this. When we were growing up, we had that conjunction, junction, what's your function? But we got to understand that they can and. We didn't always have an and. We had this path, do well in this path.
Vision. Yeah.
I was the one, as you know, was a leaper very early. I was the risk taker very early. I jumped out and I said, yeah, I may be climbing. I may be doing very, very well. I may be working for the CFO of the #2 strategic business unit globally. But at the end of the day, God has called me to something. And that was a risk. But if I didn't do that, if I didn't take that risk, so what inspired me was all the other people who weren't doing it. I inspired them to do it. You give other people permission.
Yes.
When you don't realize it. I just knew that I was never a follower. I knew that I taught myself that I didn't have to stay stuck because God was my source.
Yes.
And when I learned that, and when I cried to God about, because this is a big move to make. And making that move was a move that transitioned me to what we're going to talk about next. Some of the lessons that I learned. Yeah. Sometimes you don't learn them if you don't take a risk on you. And I'm not saying this is for everybody. It's for, let me be clear. When your purpose is in you and you've discovered and you start tapping into it, it's almost like you cannot not follow, because it's like you feel hollow inside. Like you said, you feel and you can't describe it. How about not feeling? When you are not following your purpose and your passion, you become dead on the inside. That's when people become resentful. They become bitter. They become angry. You can't talk to them. They always got a smile on their face. People that can't smile, they're the ones that's not living in purpose. I can guarantee you. Because even living in purpose, you may have some bad days and sad days, but you keep, again, come on, somebody, the power of purpose keeps getting you back up.
Yeah, it does.
There are many days I could have laid and put the covers over my king size bed and swallow myself up. But I was like, nope, I got to keep getting up. Because somebody's watching, because I feel like because of what God placed in me, I don't even have the right. Come on, somebody. I don't even have the right to lay down.
Yeah. And once the wheels are in motion, when the wheels are going, you can't stop. Because you've already put yourself out there. All these people are seeing you and you're saying, oh, I'm a baker. Buy from me. I'm a this, I'm a that. Work with me. You put yourself out there. The wheels are in motion. People are like, maybe they're not calling today, but they're thinking in a month from now, I'm going to need about a dozen cupcakes and a cake and a this and a that, and if I stop, they call me. I'm like, I stopped. And you're like, what? So you can't really, if you are serious about it and it's your love and your passion and your dream and it's all those things and you want to make it work. You're going to have the days where you want to cover up your head and stay in bed, but you can't, because you already put yourself out there. You might as well keep on going. Keep on going.
But in that is so true, but I'm past the people. Like, I'm doing it because I have an audience of one, God. I can't sit down. I get up not because of because they follow me on social media. Some days I'm posting, some days they be messed up. But I will say that because the audience of one, God, because of what He put in me, I can't.
Right. And the other thing is that you prayed for it. And how you gonna pray for something? And that's my guilt. I get like really guilty because I ask, I pray, I cry, I do all the things, I put things in motion. And who am I to stop it now? Why are you asking for all this stuff if you just gonna up and quit? You can't do that. You can't do that. This is something that was born within me, and I'm trying my best to bring it out. And I've asked God for His help to help me bring it out. So I can't stop. I can't stop.
Because like quitting on yourself, because God, He already said whatever He put in us, He equipped us to do. The thing is seeing it out. And that's been a challenge for me. The challenge is always seeing it out. So some of the lessons that you've learned along the way, I guess we kind of talked about that a little bit, but there's any other lessons? Because I know for me, you talked about people, but my lessons have been, I have to be uniquely me. I can't always do it like everybody else. The reason why I don't do things on social media the way everybody does is because God spoke to me over a year ago. And I can't, I remember what the word of the Lord was to me. And so being uniquely different, and Beautifully Bold Women is about being different, doing different, getting different results. How God moves is different than how the world moves. Kingdom is opposite what the world does and what the world says. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with social media. It is, I use it, it's necessary.
Yeah.
But what God has said for me and how he does it, that is how people also become or understand how real it is when things start happening and you're not doing it like everybody else. Well, how did that happen? And all I can say is this God. That gives him glory. See, I live to give him glory. And so when you do that, it's a difference. And so I think sometimes we're not able to learn those lessons unless we give ourselves the opportunity to kind of see. You learned a lesson, giving yourself an opportunity to see that fashion design, might not be it, but everything you learned along the way equipped you to stay and stand.
Yes.
Start a business, stand in it, and be the baker that you are.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of the lessons. Definitely, I think we touched on was that, just staying in it, even though it hurts. But knowing that it hurts, and knowing that it doesn't feel good to you, and knowing that you don't want to do it. This is what I know. I don't want to do this. What is it that I want to do? And I think the other lesson is, if there is something that is within you, bring it out early. Don't wait until you don't have a job anymore. Don't wait until, you think the time is right. Just do it. Just do it. Work on it now. Find yourself a coach, a mentor, put all the pieces in place for when the day comes and you want to drop everything and you want to run with it. You're ready to run with it. My lessons that I learned is that I waited too long. I waited too long to get this business started. It could have been while I was working, it could have been a small little side, little gig, and by the time I was ready to make it bigger, I could have probably been ready, more ready than I was. So that would be a lesson, is if there is something within you, a passion that is within you, something that you want to see come to fruition, start working on it right now. Start doing the research. Google, find a business coach, find whoever it is or whatever it is you need to find, and start working on it, and work on it a little bit every day, every single day. Set goals for yourself and try to achieve the goals as much as possible. Don't be too hard on yourself. Lord knows I get hard on myself. I am my biggest critic for sure. We all are. Like, you're like, oh, your website looks beautiful. And I'm like, thanks. Because I have this idea of what I want it to look like, but it just takes a long time. I'll get there.
You will get there. And to encourage you in that, God redeems the time. You're right where you're supposed to be, because again, those lessons that you learned along the way prepared you for now. If we did it too early, certain things, we might never get to the point where we want to be, because the give up would have been there, because we would have felt like, oh, this didn't work.
Right.
Never pursue it. But it's still the right time, because there's maturity there. There is an understanding there. There is life lessons that you've already had in the other field to understand. You've learned how to stick it out. So now you learn how to stick it out being a business owner. So it all works. It does make sense.
It does.
We allow ourselves to kind of look at it from that perspective. So I just want to encourage you and anyone out there listening that it's never too late, and it's never necessarily the timing that we think. It's the timing that God allows. And if we take a detour, God knows how to put us back on the road of destiny and our purpose. He knows how to bring us right along the path. And he also knows us, as the Bible says, to redeem our time. He redeems our time. And so when we understand that, and even, always ministering to myself, that he has the final say, and he can bring you back to the point of where you're still going to experience that thing that you can't even put words to. You're experiencing that now. You still going to have that experience, and he's going to make sure of that, because you're doing what he has purposed you to do. And that is the most important. Doing what God purposed you to do, no matter what the time. Sarah didn't have a baby till, 90-something years old. Come on, Abraham was old. Like, God still redeemed, and they had the promised child. Come on, that's the promised child. So we have to understand that our time, or what we think is the time, may not actually be the time in God.
Right. And then when you look back, all those years, you're like, oh, I should have done it then. I should have done it then. But then you're in the moment, and you look back and you're like, but if I had done it then, that wouldn't have worked because this was going on.
Right.
And this feels
Right.
like the exact right time that all of this should be happening.
Yes.
And then that also helps to build your faith, because you're like, all right, let me just let it go and let things, let God, basically.
Yeah, there you
Let
go.
go,
Let,
let God.
there you go. Let go.
That's
Let God.
basically it. I mean, we're always trying to rush stuff before it's, before it's supposed to happen. And then when things do work out, you're like, look at how that worked out. All of this is lining up and all of it is working out just right.
Just
And
right.
it feels right. The timing is right. I thought it was 10 years ago. It wasn't 10 years ago. It's right now.
You may know that song. He may not come when you want him, but he's always on time.
Mhm.
He's on time. So that's great, because I know there's so many lessons that we learned, and the good thing is that we learned the lessons, even in the failures or the disappointments. There were lessons. If we
Oh,
allow,
absolutely.
those are lessons. Those are actually we have more wisdom on this side because we learned those lessons. When you don't
Yeah.
learn those lessons, or when you don't take those risks, or when you don't take heed to what you've experienced and say, you know what, like you just said, that wouldn't have worked out. That's wisdom, because you've learned that lesson that
Mhm.
no, that wouldn't have been the right timing. That
Mhm.
wouldn't have been appropriate, and that would have made it much more
Right.
harder. So again, it's still in the perfect time. So I want to ask this: what are a few of your non-negotiables for standing firm in the power of your purpose as you continue now to pursue your
Mhm.
dreams? What are some of your non-negotiables? I have a few too.
One, just right off the top, is I am not going to give this up. I said it on live, y'all. I can't give it up now. I'm
We like
not.
to cheer you on. No, we can't.
Yeah.
No, we can't.
It's not. It may turn into, my business may turn into, it may morph into something else. I don't know what. I'm open to it. But I am not going to allow the things that I let into my head sometimes, because you get these moments of where you're talking to yourself and you're not saying all the right things, you're not putting out all the right positive messages to yourself and about your business, and those things can really eat away at you. So in those moments, I just snap right out of it. I keep going. Like, I'm not going to give it up. It may turn into something else. Do I want it to turn? Yeah. What? I don't know. But I'm open.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to stay in it. I'm going to see it through. And when it feels like I'm at a point where I'm like, either I want to turn it into something else, give it up altogether and do something else, I'll know when that feels right. I'll know when that time is right. So
Or it
that's
becomes a part of something even bigger. Like, it's a part.
yeah.
Like how and I shared with you how everything God, reorg my org chart last year.
Yeah,
Like, something bigger
yeah.
has to be over top of it, but it's still
Yeah.
a part of it. But then you have something overarching.
Right.
And that's still, it's still God's design, and that's the thing. And like
Right.
you said, you're going to keep going and stick to your goals. Quite frankly, like I
Yeah.
said, until
Yeah.
you see what you saw,
Mhm.
we're not going to give up. And I think one of the non-negotiables I'll share with you, because I think you and I have the same vein about this, is the proper mindset and being around people who can elevate our mindset.
Mhm.
I never desired to be in rooms where people were kind of all thinking the same, or their mindsets weren't being elevated, because when your mind is expanded, it can never go back to the way it was.
Right.
And I've always been someone who's expanded my mind. I've always, in the small town that we both kind of grew up in, we always want to get out. We both constantly always trying to get out because of the mind. Like, a lot of times the mindset of really wanting, of knowing certain things can happen, but then
Mhm.
being around more of a status quo society. And that's just
Mhm.
not who we are. We
Mhm.
always wanted something different, always wanted something more. Not that you can't have it, but it's just the mindset and the non-negotiable for me. I think for you as well. And that's why we've been friends so long, is that, we and it's not desire more from a greediness, but you want to elevate and become the best you
Yeah.
that you can be, and become all that you need to be, and know that there's something more in you, and having that mindset. So not being in spaces where people are telling us that we can't do it.
Yeah.
We can't. That's a non-negotiable. We're not going to be in places where no one believes that we can, first of all.
Right.
And the second thing I think is, and what you and I've been very good about, is holding each other accountable, throughout our lives, over the years. And it's always been a good thing. It's never been a bad moment. It's never, I don't even think you and I've ever had a disagreement, have we? I don't even. And I'm saying that like, have we ever, we ever got angry? Like, and people can say, no, not since fifth grade. But I'm sitting here like, have we ever even had a moment where we even fussed each other? And with sisters, and most times that's going to happen. But I'm like, we really, and I'm not saying this for the camera, I'm just saying I can't even think of a moment.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I mean,
ever that
we may have had different points of view, but I don't think it was ever sort of
it's never been like in a
kind of
contention. It's not even contention or anything. And I think that's the thing. We're so aligned, but we're fierce about holding each other accountable. And I think because it's so much love there that you know how we share with each other, how we love and respect each other. It's never been something where it feels like an attack or feels like you know. It's always been something. And I think the way we have been in each other's lives, you know, and gone through life and gone through things in our families and connecting and loving each other's mother, you know, you know, your mom is my mom, you know, kind of thing. I just think that over time, we just have a way of just holding each other accountable, even if we're not even talking on the phone.
Yeah, absolutely.
You and I are not, you know, some girlfriends have got to be on the phone all the time. We're not like, we're on the phone when we're on the phone.
Yeah, but when we get on the phone, we stay on the phone.
We're on there, right? But we understand each other's lives, but we never miss a beat. And we're always present in each other's lives, no matter what. So, and I think, you know, your girl moved up and down the East Coast and we didn't miss a beat. So, but I will say this as we kind of continue our close out and take questions or I see the comments, but take questions from the audience. So this is your time to get your questions ready because we're ready to answer those because we said we want your questions live. But as we, you know, venture this last question I have here, I want you to get your questions ready. Please put your questions in the comments because we want to be able to answer them for you. Stephanie is here giving her time to answer those questions, whatever it may be, because we understand that we're here open to share. This is a divine moment. And so we want to be able to share, you know, whatever it is that we can lend and impart. But one thing I do is one thing I say I love about you is that you are so absolutely powerful, but also so amazingly humble. You said that cocky. I was like, she ain't even really be cocky, but she, you know, that's what she thinks. She's a New Yorker now. That's what she. But you have always been so amazingly humble, and I just want to know, how do you collectively manage, or pretty much manage the creative, as well as your life, you know, being a mother, because, you know, women can relate to this, your business. Some people may not relate to business, they may have a job, but business, and what some people, you know, may not realize, and we're not going to stay on that. And I don't want you to kind of share your business on that per se, but I need to let people know you also have a formidable real estate portfolio. So you're not just doing baking and design. You've had a real estate portfolio since 25 years ago. So that is also part of your life as well. And it's like, do my girl know how bad she is? Like, no. This woman got a portfolio. We've been trying for 2 years to get a deal done together, and we still working on a deal. I'm like, when are we gonna do this deal? And life keeps happening. But,
I know.
You know, I mean, we all out like trying to lock in and you know, create some things together as well, and pray that will still happen. But
it will.
She's teaching me behind the scenes on, you know, on some of that as well. But how do you you know, collectively balance the creative and manage all of that? Because that's a creative, and even though you don't like the bookkeeping and analytical, you know, that's my house. That's my house. You know, when I see a spreadsheet going, I'm lost in it. I'm just like excited. But I am just as creative. But, you know, knowing that you still balance all those things and do that so well, and still, you know, I say your business at 1.5 years old, it looks like you run a 5-year-old business. The way everything is excellent, your systems, everything.
Oh, it's a work in progress. I mean, I think a lot of times, you know, looking from the outside in or inside out, outside in, it looks like it's a little tighter than it really is. But, you know, I'm doing the best I can. I try to give myself grace. I try to give myself the priorities to work on each day. Like I mentioned, I have a coach, and she's given us, you know, she gives us the steps to what we should be doing each day. So, you know, Mondays are admin day. Tuesdays you bake a little. Wednesdays you reach out to people you might want to do business with, and so on and so on. So, so that helped me a lot because I was just out here fumbling. I didn't know what to do until I had somebody who could kind of rein it in for me. And everything else is just kind of a work in progress. You know, I have a husband who is a partner with me in this thing called marriage and parenthood, and a support team. I have a support system who helps me with my daughter when I have something to bake into the wee hours of the morning. She can go stay with her grandma, you know. So it definitely takes people um, to manage a busy life. Like, you need a support system. Even when the support system isn't in town, like you, I call you. I need a word. I need some help. Talk to me, girl. Talk to me. You know, it's just some of that sometimes. So, and then a lot of praying,
Yes.
a lot of praying, a lot of reflection, going deep, and being still, being quiet, paying attention to um, signs and things that are around you, the things that are telling you you're moving in the right direction, the things that are telling you back up off of that a little bit. You got to be really intuitive. You
Yeah.
know, you got to be really in tune with yourself also.
And that's the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, you got to know. One of my favorite songs, Kenny Rogers. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. And that is kind of how, you know, it's kind of how I'm running this business. It kind of is, because, you know, a year and a half in now, I know what I need to be doing different, what I need to let go of, what's working for me, you know, and how to proceed moving forward. So it's not easy by any means. It is a work in progress, trying to manage all the balls that are up in the air, but I'm getting it done. You know, I write down something. I write down a lot of things on my to-do list. I cross them off. I don't beat myself up too much if I don't get to it. I just put it on next week's to-do list until I get it done. It's and then you know, you throw in the fact that you live in New York City, this expensive place, you know. So now you have extra added stuff because you have all the, you know, all the stuff that's going on in the city. You have this small child that lives in the city. So now you've got that to worry about. All you can really do is pray on all of this stuff. Sometimes it becomes so overwhelming that all I can do is just pray about it.
Give it
That's
to
it.
God.
That's really it. It's really it.
Yeah.
Honestly. Because I cannot figure it out on my own. And no one else can do that for me. So I just pray about it.
So it's to giving it to God and giving yourself grace.
Yes. Yes.
So that is awesome. So we're going to go to these questions. Thank you so much. My team got the questions in here. If there's more questions, let them start rolling in here. So what's your favorite thing to bake? And then what one thing that your sisterhood with Tamara has taught you?
Oh boy. My favorite thing to bake. My favorite dessert is chocolate chip cookies. And as simple as that is, I love baking them. I get excited. I bake them all kinds of ways. I could talk about chocolate chip cookies for a while because I love them that much. You know, I've done them with like red velvet cookies, red velvet and a regular chocolate chip swirl, chocolate cookie with white chocolate. I mean, just the gamut. I love chocolate chip cookies. It's my favorite thing to bake. And it's pretty easy. And it's what I started with. It's what I started baking. I took the Nestle Toll House chocolate chips and I flipped it over the recipe and I started baking. That was the very first thing that I baked. So I love chocolate chip cookies. My relationship with you has taught me that I feel like, you know, when you talked about me being a humble person and all of that kind of jazz, you know, I have a hard time when I'm trying to big myself up. When I'm on Instagram, you know, you really gotta big yourself up. But really, that is just about my business. I swear it's not about me. I like being in the background. But I think that having such a long friendship with you tells me a lot about myself because there's you and there's maybe two other folks that I've had these really long relationships with. Yours is the longest. And that lets me know that I probably am a good person. Somebody who wants to be in a friendship with me this long, you must be doing something right. Give yourself some credit,
You're so easy to love. Come on now.
It's hard to give myself credit. It really is, because I try to remain humble, because the minute I step outside of that, it just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't. I also treasure over all the years how we would go for a while without talking, then we would talk, and we would realize that we had a lot of the same things happening at the same time. And I thought that was like that. I thought that was just crazy. How we would pick up the phone and you would start talking about something. I'd be like, girl, it's happening to me too. Let me tell you what I found out, So that just lets me believe that I know that me and you have a really good friendship, and we were supposed to meet. I forget exactly how we met, but we were supposed to meet. We were supposed to have our first job together, or one of the first jobs.
We did. And we won't say the name, but yes, we did.
No.
You got me to hook up. It has something to do with fashion.
Yes, and we left the same day. Remember? Yes. We've been through a lot. We know each other well, even when we don't talk a lot. We know what the other is going through. We know it's almost like we also know when we need to hear from the other. If it's been a while, a text, a call, we were doing Zooms. And I treasure that. I really treasure that. It's not, leaving our town and coming here, making friends here. These friendships, while I love a lot of the people here, I really do. I really love my friends here. They don't compare. Those friendships don't compare to what I have with you. Because you're my sister. You're my
sister. And I'm in awe, because I remember you said one time, you was like, we can't call each other besties anymore. And I'm like, first I was like, what do you mean we don't? We're sisters. You can't. I mean,
it don't even sound right.
You can't call. You're my sister. And I remember you saying that, and that just touched me, because I'm like, yeah, she's right. Like, because like, that's my bestie, my best friend.
Yeah.
As I even, said earlier today, but I did say my sister, because you made it very clear. You're not my bestie.
It feels weird even saying.
And some people even use sister loosely, but I understood what you meant.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're blood. We are just. I mean, I don't even want to go there, because it'll take me to another place of, where I'll just leave that alone, because then I don't, we'll be on here another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I want to respect the time and the people who are going to be watching this replay, but I understood that. And so when you talk about sometimes the things you can't express, when you said that, I got it without saying, which, at first I was like looking, but I didn't say anything, but I was like, okay, I get it. And you're right. There's not people, other friendships that you can kind of say, and not that you compare. I think friends in your life operate differently, whether in different seasons or they operate a different way in your life. And that's how I see it as an adult, I'd say my best friends are like on my one hand, right? But everybody operates in a different role. But I can say our friendship is one that does not have a line. It's like, you are all those things.
Yeah.
And I think that is probably because of the growing together at such a young age, loving each other at such a young age, on the playground, just doing what we did. And so, always smiling, always giggling, always having fun. I think that in and of itself lends itself to just how a rhythm. It's just a rhythm for everything. So I wanted to, I know when you're looking over, because I was going to have my team put up, because I wanted a photo of you with those chocolate chip cookies. When you talk about chocolate cookies, we're not talking about the ones you get at the grocery store. I keep trying to tell the people. These chocolate chip cookies are like this thick, maybe. I bruised my finger.
Yeah.
That thick. That's not chocolate chip. That's a bruised finger I have right now. And they're about that thick. And just go to the website. Let's put the website up. My team is trying to get the picture up, but May can't do that, and that's okay. But just go to the website. And so my team will put the website again on there. And I believe this picture's on your website, but if it's not, I'm telling you, these cookies are not just your regular cookies. Those cookies are almost big as a half a cupcake. Like
they're dinner.
These are gourmet. These are gourmet cookies.
I'm pretty sure I've had one for dinner before.
Yeah, yeah. So, do we have any other questions? Just want to check on my team. Do we have any other questions on tonight? Because we're gonna roll out. Thank you so much. We do have the website there, so please go to the website right now. I will say right now, deliveries are only happening within a certain radius in from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, New York. However, be on the lookout, because this is one of the things that I know that God is going to do. We will be shipping things nationally. Things are going to happen. God is already, I believe, He is positioning, and the time is coming. There's so many things, as my sister said, that I've already shared. See, my team is the bomb. We gonna get it up. See, we don't quit, right? We do not quit. Do y'all see those chocolate chip cookies? And you see my sister up there.
Gigantic plate
Look
size
at those cookies. So when she's talking about chocolate chip cookies, y'all like, that's a muffin. But I really want to see that you get a chocolate chip cookie in your mind. That's not the basic chocolate chip cookie, right?
No,
like
we don't do basic. We ain't doing basic chocolate chip over here.
Yes, and vegan, you do vegan as well. So people need to understand you do vegan as well. Vegan cookies that taste like the regular chocolate chip cookies you get in the not taste like the ones in the store, but they taste like a regular chocolate chip cookie, and you don't even know they're vegan or they're missing anything. And these are recipes that you have created.
Yes.
These are recipes that she's copying from some other person. So almost like when you're going to a Michelin restaurant in New York, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Kitchen could be toe up, but you're going to get that beautiful thing. That's how it is. Like, what you're getting from her is something unique. It's beautiful and exquisite. So if we don't have any more questions, just want to make sure for my team, if there's no more questions, I haven't seen anything pop up or scroll in the comments. So you want to make sure you connect with us, yes, at Beautifully Bold Women. So you see there on there our QR code. Follow us on Instagram. That's how you can stay connected with us, so that when we have our next broadcast, you will be able to be tuned in. I want you also to make sure you connect into our mailing list. It is so important to stay up on what's going on. Maybe worldwide, can start with New Jersey. Hey, all right, that's one of our amazing advisors. Yes, can make it happen. Definitely, we're going to do a regional thing. Just New Jersey, New York, Delaware, because I'm trying to get them here.
Well, I got to come through Jersey to get to Delaware. So
right. So I'm like, maybe get those 3 regions, because I got to make sure I try to get this region covered.
Yeah.
But definitely. So I want you to also stay connected with us, because we're doing some great things. There's more things that God has ordained. Like I said, the vision of Beautifully Bold Women is so big. And so we want to continue to grow. We are growing, but we want to continue to grow, because we know there's lives that need to be touched. There's women who truly want to live out their purpose. And it's time for us ladies to live in our purpose and do it well, not look at the chaos and the confusion that's outside the world. We'll really start aligning ourselves with God's plan, God's agenda, and live out our purpose and live out our days fruitfully and fulfilling, because He put each and every one of us a purpose. And so I don't think thank you so much for that amazing conversation tonight. Thank you. It was a wonderful time that I had been bringing Stephanie to you all. I was just so excited for this conversation tonight, but I'm asking you all, go to our website to join our email list. Go on Instagram. You can click on the link there. It will take you straight to also subscribing to our email list. Stay connected, because weekly we do have inspirational emails to go out. It also gives you the BBW news, what's happening, what we're doing. There's some things that we're going to be starting to do in the summer. We did have a BBW Community Day plan, so we will want to probably put that also back on the calendar where we come together personally, because it's good to have things in this forum through internet, but also want to touch on each other and also be together collectively in person. So we do have our BBW community conversations via Zoom, but we also want to get more of our community days as well going, where we're going to be doing some great things as am there too. So getting a little tongue tied because there's so much that my brain is thinking that I want to do, and we want to get those things done. But in God's timing, as we said here, that God will cause things to manifest. So I just want to thank you, Stephanie, for being on here tonight with me. I knew this was going to be a girl conversation on steroids. And so I just thank God. I pray and I know that someone on here live and also those who will be watching the replay is going to get something out of here. It's going to be a nugget that they're going to take of wisdom to keep moving, keep going, to move in the essence and the power of their purpose. And I just thank you for giving me that opportunity to bless another woman out there who's going to hear this and really believe in themselves to start their business, to be inspired, and know it's never too late to live your dreams, even after a 20, 25 plus year career. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'd do anything for you, Tam. Love you.
Thank you. And thank you all for being on here. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.